with Foundation Digital Media. This is a critique of section 2. And we're going to go over the Kung Fu Panda assignment. So, oops, let's get out of here. Okay, so I'm just going to flip through these and we'll give you some critique. This looks like a good start. We are missing a lot of the detail on like these posts and the background and on the figure. So don't be afraid to spend some time on those, okay? And on this pier or bridge or whatever it is. Good start. Keep going. Not completely done. So a couple things. So more detail on the pier. These things should be blurred, and we should see some background back here. Let me just let me go over. Yeah, this is the one I want. Okay. Oops. Okay, I'm just gonna scoot that one out of the way, push this one in, and I'm gonna do a little bit of talk about what exactly I'm talking about here. So let's look at all the detail on this. Now I'm not totally asking for, you know, well, I actually am. We want this to be as close to this as possible. So let me just do one real quick. So this pier, how are we going to break it down? Well, we have this kind of a super light yellow. We have this kind of purpley brown, this dark brown, and I think this purpley brown and then this yellowy green kind of should be the base two colors. And then we'll put these dark shapes over the top, the light over the top of that, and these lines over it. So let's get going on that. Just and I'm not going to be very accurate, but I will to make up for the accuracy idea is just the process. Okay, so I have we're going to change that stroke to maybe something really standout-ish and light. Then we'll make another shape over the top of this. Oops, I should have included these little pop out things in here. That's great. Okay, so that takes care of this one, and it will make this shape. Now I'm going to make the off-white shape. And again, I apologize for this. Accuracy isn't that good, but I think you'll get the idea of what I'm after, and I'm talking like Frankenstein or something, because I'm not able to concentrate very well when I'm drawing and talking at the same time. And then lastly, these big long brown shapes. Okay, so now that I've done all that, now we're going to go in with the shape builder tool. And the whole key to this is holding down the Alt or Option key. So right now there's a plus next to my cursor. And if I hold down Alt or Option, I'm going to get a minus. And then I can remove that shape. Okay, and that's the trick. That's the whole key to this working correctly. If I want to remove this shape, I don't have the plus there. It'll combine it or something. I want to remove it, and that's what you want to do too. So and I'm going to remove yeah, those shapes. Then I'm going to come in now. See all this texture in here. you don't need to draw the texture. The texture is done with other programs, not Illustrator. So I'm going to grab this shape first of all, and I'm going to use the eyedropper. Fill that full of this light yellow. I'm going to grab this shape. You know what? I missed removing that. So I'm going to go with the shape builder and remove this bit right there. Okay, that looks... no, that's okay. Okay, so I'm selecting that big brown shape, eyedropper, clicking it. There we have the big brown shape. And then this one, eyedropper, that purpley brown, looks great. Now this one has like a little bit of brown up at the top here, which again, I'll use the pencil tool to sketch that in. And I can go outside and then back in again. And then we'll grab both that shape. So they're both selected now. And then we go to the shape builder. Let me zoom in so we can see what we're doing. Holding down Alt or Option, I'm going to remove that. Yeah, that's it. And then we'll just grab, actually I'm going to click away. Yeah, this shape and that shape. And I'm going to make that the dark brown. Okay, then the last little bit here is I'm going to get that pencil tool and I'm going to draw these lines. Now, the trick about drawing these lines is that they are just going to be lines. They're not going to be filled shapes. Okay, it's pretty important to distinguish that difference. It almost looks like whoever did this originally just kind of scribbled on it, but I'm just going to do something like that. Okay. Now, I think I talked about this in one of my videos, but Control Y or Command Y gives you the, what is this called again? The wireframe mode. So I'm going to click all those little scribble marks I've made, holding down Shift so I can multiple select. Yeah, looks like I got them all. And then I'll go back into Control Y again or Command Y, and then I'm actually going to sample the stroke. So I'll go in here and I'll grab that. See, so I'm going to have to switch it. So I'm just going to drag that over to the stroke, and then we'll remove the fill on that. Now we can finally select this background and make that kind of green. So this is kind of the detail that I'm after. Okay, a little more detail than what maybe some of you did. So that's the idea. We want to make it look like what we're seeing in the picture. Okay. Yeah. So all right. So now we're going to run back to the assignments. Ooh, this is a great one. Nice job. Whoever did this. This looks really fantastic. Yeah, well done. Thumbs up. Looks great. And looks like Rose did a real nice job on this one as well. Yeah, that looks good. The black isn't a full black. It's kind of a lighter black. I mean, if we were going to change anything, I'd make those nice, deep, rich blacks, but good job. Wow. And this is another great job. You guys, some of you are just knocking it out of the park. Well done. Yeah, brilliant. Nice one. Oops. Oh, yeah. Okay, we're still good. Okay, so the one issue with this one is, see all these white gaps? That tells me that the person doing this didn't use layers very well. They are drawing this shape right here, and then they're drawing this shape right next to it. And since we're a little imperfect with us, you know, just in drawing, we're not going to get that right on. So layers is the key for this one, layers. These white gaps mean you didn't draw in layers, you drew them right next to each other. So we get those white gaps. Okay, so this one wouldn't get such a great grade just because of that. Some of you are still turning in without the proper permissions. And this one's almost done. This is really getting, it's very, very close. Boy, this one looks pretty darn good. These are all different colors, and I'll show you an easy way to do that if I haven't already. This one looks like it's in construction, but it does need a little more detail in it. Okay, it's all generalized, and the outlines are still there, and they should not be. This looks pretty darn good. Yeah, well done on that. This one, instead of using a blend, they use different shapes. And if you didn't know how to use the blend tool or the gradient, this would be a good solution, but I did show how to do that. So let's try to get, use the blend tool, but other than that, well done. This is looking really nice too. Yeah, good, excellent. All right, I am impressed with, oh yeah, someone even put the texture in there. I think I had a video on to show how to do that, I believe. But yeah, looking very, very good. Gosh, these are all, like, you guys are hitting it out of the park. This one, the colors are a little off, and there's not as much detail on this. So this one would not get as marked, as high a grade as others. Permissions issue. And again, not as much detail and some black outline. And layers, see how this one, they drew two shapes right next to each other, so we get those little white marks. So layers, work on layers on this. This is looking nice. Yeah, these look a little funky in here, just not the right colors. And then this one needs a little work with the gradient and with the tracing. So let me talk about very briefly, yeah, the gradient and what to do with these shapes. So actually, I think I've done that in the video. No, maybe I didn't. Okay, so I'm going to do it real fast. So let's see. I'm going to, yeah, I'll go over here and get this gradient going on. And to make a gradient, you have to make it a gray and white one, and then you can begin editing that gradient. Like this side would be a bright yellow, and then we'll put a new marker in here, and I'm going to call it like an orange. Well, yeah, something like that. And then I think this one's actually going to be a little bit darker, so I might go into a color picker here and make it like a deep, yeah, like that. Okay, so so here's our gradient. Right now it's a linear gradient, and I'll show you. So if you use the gradient tool, you can play around with these gradients by just kind of stretching them out. But one thing that we want to do is we want to make a radial gradient for this particular gradient. And same thing, we can click and drag to make a gradient, and that's what we want on this one. Then quickly draw just some random shapes. So what the trick is with these shapes here is that we want to, they need to kind of have this blend to them, but we're not actually able to make that by just sticking a color in them. It's going to be very difficult making a color out of these things like that will match and go with this gradient behind it. So there's a blending trick that I'm going to show you here. So let me just hold down Shift and collect all my shapes. Make sure they're all colored black. And then since I'm in this properties, let me move this over a little bit. I'm going to select all of them together. Okay. And in properties, I'm going to change this opacity down to maybe 40-ish. And then, so that's my, and then I'm going to click opacity, and then under this drop down, I'll change this to multiply. So here's what that does. It, yes, it's black, but it does, it kind of interacts with the background. Okay, so see how this is like lightish, light orangey yellow, and then as we go up, it's still like a blacky red or a dark gray red. That's kind of what's going on with this gradient back here. It's the same idea, is that it's black with an opacity and it's set to multiply, so it interacts with that background. Okay, I hope all this was helpful. Hope the critique was helpful, or just the comments anyway. And you're welcome to revise and resubmit before the last day of the semester. Okay, thanks guys.